Team trades and strategy is what we're going to be focusing on here in our trades video of the People Squad and also my team. And lots of trades being used at the moment. This coincides with the strategy that I spoke about in the preseason of trading hard early, because we do have a bunch of extra trades this year, making sure you get everything right across this first 5 to 10 weeks. That team, we want to be tip-top shape, making lots of money and scoring lots of points, especially because we started pretty poorly. And then kind of saving a few trades through the middle period, especially if you are thinking towards round 13, round 16, 19, those big major buy rounds, making sure that you have enough players in those, but not going overboard, and then being able to consolidate and create your final team with some good squad depth, because you've been able to build and make a lot of money across, especially this first 10 to 15 weeks there, and you can go from there. So the People Squad, we did make a couple of trades this week, considering the last few weeks have been pretty poor for us. Unfortunately, with the news to Adam Doueihi, he's gone from both of our sides. So moving to fullback, he doesn't score anywhere near as well. He's also carrying an injury and in a Tigers team that is very much struggling. So it's time to move Adam on, unfortunately. We move him on to Shaun Johnson in this squad, and he's a very, very, very big trade in play this week. So 646k, about 100k cheaper than what Adam is. Allows us to bank that cash. And what that actually allowed us to do here is to get rid of Tommy Talau and bring in Connelly Lemuelu. So with him at a minimum getting the next 4 weeks on that edge, we've seen what he's been able to do base stat wise on the weekend was pretty nice, around that 40 mark, and then was able to get some attacking stats in amongst some of his negatives. So what that does allow for the People Squad is that we don't have to play Harley Smith-Shields this week. We can play Lemuelu and we can play Alamotti in that center position, which is exactly what we're looking for, some stability in that position. Considering that we haven't had that, apart from last week with Tamati Martin, he hasn't scored too well. This week we get him and hopefully he can come out with a good score. If he can, he's wearing that power circle, which I love. Now we're starting to get a few of those guys on our side. Four Warriors players in our team now. Tohu last week, Jackson Ford sitting on interchange as well, along with Shaun Johnson and Tamati Martin there. Warbrick is someone that we really need to come out and score well this week against the Tigers. Really excited and hopeful that he can come out and do a great job there. So Johnson and our good man Connelly Lemuelu. Pretty stock standard kind of trades this week, and we've banked one so far, 51k in the bank. Now, let's look at our team structure. Something you definitely need to be looking at in your team each and every week to make sure you have something close to some cover, or the person that is your main guy, whether it's Harry Grant here, he's definitely going to be playing each week. Apart from injuries and suspensions, you could cover him regularly. But what we do have is Tanner Boyd, who can cover the hooking position. That's a big tick. The mids there, we've got plenty of coverage still with Hopgood sitting in our interchange. You've got Haas, Carrigan, Tohu Harris. So we're very strong up top there. In the edges, Eli Katoa and also Jacob Preston. Very happy with that. We have Trent Leoro there. Ford, who can cover that position. We've obviously got Dury still sitting in the team. We'll speak about him in a sec. Lemuelu can cover the edge as well. So we're covered there. Halfback, we now have Cleary, Johnson, and Tanner Boyd, and Isaiah Katoa, who looks like he's probably going to be out this week. That's all good news in terms of having cover in that position. Center, we also have Harley Smith-Shields as cover. And then our wing fullback position, that is the only one that we're struggling with currently. So we really need Warbrick to keep his spot, and Miller and Tamari Martin to both not get injured, and then we'll be okay to cover. So overall, that's looking okay. If we're looking at all our players in our starting team, in that 13 there, we've got really, apart from Warbrick, we can say Martin's a solid player now because he was, he's averaging over that 25 that he was in the first few weeks. So other than Warbrick there, we're pretty happy with that 13. Looking to the interchange bench, and Hopgood is a clear gun up top there. Playing Tanner Boyd seems to be fine from here on. Obviously, he had the absolute shocker in round 2, so we'll expect a little bit better from that week to week. Jackson Ford, if he can get back to big minutes on that edge, he's going to be great for our squad. And Trent, he's our slight worry at this point. So the two Storm boys, hopefully they have a bit of a bounce back. And if they do, we're going to have a pretty good week. So, good news with that starting 17. Then you go to the emergencies, and Katoa, Murdoch, Masila, Dury, and Smith-Shields. So our main worry with these four is the fact that there's not a lot of cash generation coming from them at this point. If we did have to play any of these guys, obviously, you know, Katoa, Smith Shields, they're going to score okay. Medok Casilla, we're not sure what he's going to put up at the moment, to be honest there. But and Dury's one of those guys that's going to be bench guy and needs to be traded out in the next few weeks. So if there is an injury, if there's a laid out, if there's a suspension, we're not too excited with our 18 to 21. And this is what I want to talk about here, is it's that team structure and, you know, having a good amount of players on your emergencies that could actually come in and pick up a 25, a 35 there when you need them. So as the buy rounds come along, especially those bigger buys when there's more than one team out on a week-to-week basis, we need to start to look at this. And what we need to be on the lookout right now for is some decent cash cows. So obviously this week there's, you know, at the lower price point, there's guys like Sonny Luke, there's guys like Tyrell Sloan who are, you know, just under 300k and a little bit over at 320 with Tyrell. They're the guys we're going to look at and go, oh, are they good enough players for us to pop into our side to be able to make some cash, and then we can, you know, continue to turn over those type of players and pick up cash cows from there. At the moment, as I said, there's not many this week, so it's probably worth just holding on to a couple of these guys. They get that little bit of extra cash generation, and then we look to move on from them to build a nice solid 18th man would be a goal over the next few weeks. And, you know, with a lot of these guys making money in our starting sides, in the Katoas, the Prestons, we obviously missed out on Cartwright, which wasn't ideal. Alamotti, Lemuelu's going to make some cash. Johnson's doing his job. You know, Warbrick's a bit slow. Tamari Martin's starting to make some money now after he got his 52. Trent, you know, 40 there. There's a few guys that are doing an okay job. We need to really be onto them as to, you know, to be able to come back in this game at the moment, considering we're ranked 31,000th overall. We need to be onto these guys when they stop making cash, transfer them to the next cash cow. So I think that's the most important thing out of the People Squad at the moment. Guys, if you are a voter of the People Squad, let me know in the comments there or in the Discord what you think of that type of strategy. You know, guys would be looking to try and attain, or positions that we're struggling with, is obviously the wing fullback. So we need some coverage, and I would suggest potentially looking at guys like Teddy in round 5, Joey Manu, these types of guys who have had their first bye. They will be out in round 13, but it's definitely something to look at. Guys like Reece Walsh over the next couple of weeks could be ideal. And, you know, with centers being pretty strong, I wouldn't be trying to look at guys like Jack Bird and those types of players. But, you know, the Hammer, these guys that are doing pretty well. There's obviously not a heap of the wing fullbacks that are absolutely killing at the moment. So that's definitely a problem area for us. And we definitely have a bunch of mid-rangers that we could use to move around. So, yeah. Obviously not in a great spot at the moment. People Squad, we're 2 out of 3 in our head-to-heads, which is good. But definitely some work to be done over the next bunch of weeks to get things right in this team. And hopefully Harry Grant comes out and has a great captaincy this week. And we can all sleep soundly for those that are looking after the People Squad. So that is that. We will move on to my side. And really the hardest part of this week is going to be deciding who I decide to captain. So trades this week, I've actually brought in the same 2 trades. Shaun Johnson and Lemuelu for Adam Doueihi. And I have, at this stage, gone from Doueihi to Lemuelu. The other option is to go Butcher, who's not playing this week, who I'm probably going to trade out next week anyway. So if I did that, it would leave me a lot of cash in the bank, and then I could make a bit of a splash next week from one of my mid-range guys. If they get injured, if I think that they're close to peaking, if one of them loses their spot, or if there's an injury, I can use that bulk cash next week, which, you know, if there was a couple of injuries in, you know, next week, and I wouldn't be able to use that extra cash available because I've left it on the pine, with that Egan Butcher there, who's someone I don't want to keep long term. So I think I'll probably change that to Egan Butcher out, which would leave me with, what was that going to leave me with? Almost like I think 300k on the bench there, which again is good. I'll be able to go straight to a top gun. And we'll work out in a sec which of these options, you know, we have a bunch of mid-range guys that we can move on week to week there. With Trent, we've obviously got Ilias in that one. Doueihi would be left in the side, and he potentially has a tiny bit of cash remaining to be used. Wing fullback's a position I'd like to improve. I do have Suoli'i here on the bench, so he could come back, and we'll work out what we're going to do with him. But as I said, there's a bunch of guys in the centres and also the wing fullbacks that we could target at that more expensive price, whether it is the Walshies, Teddys, Joey Manus, these types of guys. Ruben Garrick are coming out and doing well. Tommy Trbojevic, all great options. I think Tommy could be a really big one next week. And if we left that cash on the pine, we could make a good splash from one of these mid-range guys to them. And as I said, if there's any suspensions and the like, that would be really good as well. Really, the biggest question for me this week is going to be captaincy. And for those that are destroying the Thursday night captaincy, for those people that did captain Tom Trbojevic last week, they got to 75. So really, it can't be that bad on Thursday night. We've obviously seen a couple of average ones. Hopgood was not good that last week. We had Cleary a few weeks ago when he got injured. That wasn't great. I'm so tempted just to slap it on him again this week. Ride the roller coaster and go from there. Someone like Cam Murray or Haas are going to be a great option again. Cleary, is it just, you got big balls if you can just go, yeah, I'll hold him through it. 12% of people have got rid of him, and then we slap the C on him, and he comes out and gets a 30. Yes, just what we want. There's a great chance that he can come out and score super well. He has the pedigree, guys, and that's why we're holding on to him. He has a high break even. It would be absolutely lovely if he can come out and hit it. The Eels have actually been letting in plenty of tries over the last few weeks, so is that something that they can improve with someone like Madison back? Do they have a lot to improve over the next few weeks, and Cleary and his boys can come out after some pretty average performances and play a lot better? That's definitely the other option there, but someone like Cam Murray should have to play big minutes in this one. Hasn't had a lot of attacking stats either, so he could be the option. I think it would probably be Murray or Cleary. A little bit worried with Haas's minutes because he played 59 last week and came on at the end. It was on 43 with 7 minutes, 44 with 7 minutes to go. And thankfully got a couple of offloads, a couple of line break assists, and obviously, we saw what happened there. Helped Carrigan score well, helped Reece Walsh come out and score well also. It's going to be a pretty tough matchup for them. I'll be very interested to watch that one there for sure. Okay, so we haven't been doing too bad with actually making cash in this side. That's a good start. It's important that we had guys like Cartwright. We missed out on Trindle. That was the only real guy I'm a bit annoyed and stressed about. Michael Cheekham was another one, but you couldn't really foresee him getting that amount of time over that many weeks. So, is what is on that. We brought in a good trade last week in Robson, so that's cool. He'll hold his spot in that hooking position. What we're lacking at the moment is some cover. So, we got Talau, we got Suoli'i, so they're going to cover the wing fullback and centres. They're probably going to need a better wing fullback to trade in for guys like Warbrick and Chester. Obviously, Chester got a couple of weeks. Warbrick, we're not exactly sure, with guys like George Jennings coming back, and he's just not scoring great. But I'm quite happy to play him this week, guys. I know a lot of people are stressed about him, but him against the Tigers, this has to be the week that he scores some tries. Would love a bounce back from Cleary. Johnson, just keep doing his thing. Lemuelu to keep doing his thing. Miller is obviously a nice one to have there. I think we're due for a good week. I'm still not sold on my team at the moment. There's a lot of sort of guys that are going average, which I think we need to improve. So still a lot of trades to be made in this one. Obviously, guys like Ilias, we got Leoro there. That needs to be changed. You got Murdoch Masila, we're not happy with. Tommy Talau. And then plenty of good guys in the starting side that are doing great things. But yeah, wing fullback and then those couple of guys there we need to look at moving. But this week, I can do a bit of a double loop, which is going to be cool as well. So Jackson Ford is on the emergencies there. I've got Egan Butcher in number 4. And we could potentially try and do that double, as I said. But we have to pick the right type of guy to make that work there, which we'll have a look into doing. As I said, the most important thing, guys, whoever's playing in the early games, you want to pop them in emergency 5 for your most important, emergency 6 for the second most important there. And that's going to help you if you need to do a double in the end. Find out what's happening with that first looper. And obviously, if you're not too happy with him at all, you can avoid that completely and pop the other guys into your starting side in that one there. So 40 plays the second game of the week. That's why he's in that position at the moment. Ilias, we'd obviously like him to score a bit better. It's going to be a fairly tough game for him up against Manly. But yeah, it'll be a fun one, that's for sure. Hopefully he can come out and get a try assist or a try again. Yeah, I suppose that's the general gist on my team at the moment. My Supercoach team is doing so much better and I'm so happy with it. But it'd be nice to have sort of 3 or 4 trades to be able to use and just knock that out in the first couple of weeks and then make our decisions from there. But I think Cleary is going to be super important this week. He was a 50% owned type of player and down to 36 now. And still, a lot of really good fantasy players have moved on from Cleary. So if we can bank an 80 or something from him this week, a 70 plus, that's going to be massive in determining how we go this week. If Murray can come out and do great, Robson again there, having Johnson, who is getting a little bit more highly owned, especially from guys that are playing this game, putting a lot of time and effort into this one at 4.8% is still really low. which is good. Lemuelu is going to be fairly low as well, around that 4%. So if those two can do well, we're really going to break away from a bit of the big pack of sort of teams that are playing but not putting a lot of time and effort in, which is going to be good. So yeah, thankfully can loop this week a few guys, which is awesome, and it's probably all I got to say in terms of the trade. So I hope you guys got a lot out of that in terms of structure. As I said, there's a few things we need to look at. Potentially getting a gun from one of these mid-range guys, and that could be just getting a gun in the wing fullback position and using that 300k next week to go from an Ilias or whoever we need to go from Warbrick or Trent or something like that to a gun wing fullback, and that would help that position there. Good luck this week, guys. As I said, hope that really helped you, and catch you in the final video of the week, which will be the questions and teams. Just going to go through teams only in this one because I did the massive Q&A in the Team List Tuesday. If you haven't checked that out, guys, it's in a slightly different section when you search it up on my YouTube channel, but check it out. There's plenty of questions that I answered in that one. Should cover all topics, and good luck this week.